Hello, everybody.
Hello. Oh, I should have probably fixed that before then. Let's see, where am I going to hide that? I did some cleanup, but not enough.
Yeah.
Never enough. Listen, you. Just go out and get my ice cap. I probably should mute the microphone while I'm chastising my wife. Take all you women with you. All of you. The freeloader, Emily. No, that's the freeloader. And then Emily. There was a separation there. Hey, Mama Lego.
Hey, Mama Lego.
Don't tell your wife what to do. You guys support her, Ange. Mama Lego told me not to tell you what to do. See, I can't tell her what to do. Just, I'm not letting you back in unless I have an ice cap. You have keys, so I'll have to change the locks fast. Yeah. How fast can I change a lock? Not very fast. My daughter's got a door with no doorknob because I'm so bad at this stuff. Actually, that's not a joke. Her door has no doorknob. Yeah, her door hasn't had a doorknob in 2 years.
Just take the striker.
Well, no, I took
put a doorknob in and just take the striker out.
Yeah, no, I took it all out. I took the knob, the two plates, and the striker, and mostly because of the cat.
Oh,
cat wants in her room, right?
Yeah.
And so now the cat can easily, literally dig under the door and open the door. So, because the cat would keep us up at all hours, scratching, trying to, let me in. It's like, all right, I'm sick and tired of this. And they wanted to keep the cat, and I really didn't. It's like, all right, well, you're losing your doorknob. And then when there was still resistance, I took the striker plate out too.
Yeah.
Yep. So problem solved. It actually started out because the knob was loose and I was going to fix it and replace it. And then I just got to a point, why? If the cat is just going to annoy me anyway.
I was going to say problem solved, but not really because you still got the cat.
Yeah. And there's no privacy issue. My daughter keeps the door closed anyway. And no one goes down that hall otherwise. And not a big deal. But yeah. So the girl we took with us on vacation, she was just here. She's actually now in my daughter's school because the high school she was going to, God, I love Toronto. Between my daughter's school burning down, 2.5 years ago now?
Right.
And her having to take a bus 9 kilometers away. It's probably the longest inner city commute for any city in Canada for a kid going to high school. 9 kilometers by bus. It's crazy. What do we got? 300 schools in the city. It's crazy. But so now my daughter's best friend, the high school, and she's a year younger, but the high school that she was going to, which was actually my former high school, is apparently doing renovations this year. So she decided to, you know what? She could have gone to a school closer to the one she was going to, but it still would have been a fair drive or bus ride from where she lives. Actually, it probably would have been pretty close. It would have been at least 6K, if not more.
Yeah.
She decided, you know what? She was going to spend her last year and hang with my daughter. So 9K.
Friends, eh?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's one of the few things that has survived COVID somehow.
I was gonna say, especially if it's your grade 12, you want to be around friends.
Yeah, well, for my daughter, it's 12 and 11 for M. But and so after school, they called and, can M come over? I go, well, we took her to another province for 3 days and she lived in a small room with us. So there's really no issue now if she wants to come over. Yeah. I mean, she's double shotted. We're all double shotted at this point. she's in our cohort whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
No, we love her to death. She's basically my second daughter.
So she went with you guys to Montreal.
Oh, I didn't hear a word of that.
Oh, sorry. She went with you guys to Montreal then, did she?
Yeah, she's actually been going on. Wow, now that I think about it, almost any vacation where we've left the province since, I don't know, probably the last 5 years or something. So, really close friend. I see a munchkin.
Yeah. Here's a munchkin.
Hi.
Hi. You look like you're either ready for bed or just had a nice bath.
I can't hear anything.
Ready for bed.
That's what I see. I was 50% right. I knew it was one or the other.
I see sprinkles or something on your mouth. You've been eating something sugary.
Sugary before bed.
Oh, you know what you need to do? You go brush your teeth. I can smell supper.
Yeah, sometimes supper doesn't come back too well.
Well, yeah, especially brisket.
I find after meat, it's kind of doggy breath after meat.
Yeah, watch YouTube on Mom's phone. It has to be the TV upstairs and it has to be downstairs.
Why don't you just watch with Nathan?
I don't like what he's watching.
Well, for now,
Won't share.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make something do. Love you too.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Oh, going on. It's like, I want to watch YouTube, but I can't use this and I can't use that. Nathan's got the TV and Mom's got the TV upstairs. So watch with Nathan, but I don't want to. So you have to figure something out.
It's never enough, you see. You could have 2 TVs, 2 iPads. It doesn't matter how much tech you buy. It's never enough.
And she's like, we can't find Nathan's iPad. I said, well, that's great.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. That's a biggie.
It'll turn up. Somewhere. Probably under a blanket or something.
I'd send you my daughter's old iPad mini, but I'll tell you the truth. It's so old, it won't run anything, which is why I'm not using it.
That's what this thing is. It's it is. It's. I'm sure that's what you called it. It was a mini. Because we had a regular.
Because the one I'm looking at now, and it's the first iPad mini they came out with, and I think it was better than my iPad 2. And that's about it. And it was, at the time, it was great. It was a great purchase, although my wife hated the fact I spent, I think it was $700 on it or whatever for my daughter.
Spend that on it.
Yeah, well, you know,
close.
Well, this was top of the line, brand new one, right? All the storage and well, not all the storage, but yeah, my wife was not happy. I bought that for Christmas for my daughter, and this was, of course, I do this every year almost, where my wife does most of the Christmas shopping, and then I go out and I buy something on top. You know, that's my input into the Christmas, because it's 90% my wife. It's always 90% Ange. But then I do that one gesture, and it's either I try and outdo it, or this is with Daddy, you know. And of course, that 1 year, what did I do? I bought the iPad with the iPad case and slipped that under the tree, and I wrote "From Santa," and that's what I do, "From Santa." Because in our house, everything's usually from Mom and Dad, but then there's that one from Santa. And oh my God, did I ever get it from my wife? Like, what? And I mean, I spent more on that one present than we did on like all of our family. I think that's what bothered my wife the most. Like, are you kidding? And you know what? She loved it for years. And just like I did with mine, like I used to use my iPad every night. I'd fall asleep. It would bounce on the floor, but that armor case I had on it would protect it.
The OtterBox.
It was an OtterBox case, and I loved it to death. But you know, once I think it was my iPhone 7 pretty much killed any use of the iPad for me in this house. It was like, why? I mean, it's not that it's the biggest screen in the world, but it was bigger than my iPhone 4. It's definitely more powerful than my iPad. So it's like, yeah, I'm kind of done with the iPad. I don't even know where my iPad 2 is. It's floating around too. More dead tech.
That was the first one. We got an iPad 2. I think it was only like $300. Is all we paid for it. But I think it was maybe 2 years ago. We hadn't used it for a while. Got it out. It like took forever to recharge it. Charged it up.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, eh?
Run all the updates, and like all the updates run, but it wouldn't connect to the internet.
Really?
Don't know why. Couldn't get it to pull up any web page or anything.
Oh,
So
maybe
maybe
the Wi-Fi radio on it is dead.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but at the same time, when I was doing that, we had bought an iPad Mini for Nathan, and long story short, he'd been acting out, so we had put it away. He hadn't used it in about a year. At the same time, I got it out and started charging it, and it worked. So thank Christ. So
Oh, good.
yeah, that's his iPad, but time to time it has to go bye because he won't listen or whatever.
Yeah, once in a while I've taken my daughter's phone away, but the problem is she's in school, high school, travels, transit, all that, and I want her to have it. I
Yeah.
want to track my daughter. I want to be able to communicate with my daughter. I want her to be able to track and communicate with us.
Well,
So
yeah, and exactly. You want her
it's
to be able
hard for me
if
to
she
take
needs
it
you.
away. At best I can do is when, if it's school time, if I need to take it away, then when she gets home, I lock it up.
Yeah.
But even then, they're using the phones in school a lot now, and it's getting tougher and tougher. But
Yeah.
my kid's a good kid. Don't get me wrong. It's rare that I've had to do anything. But my daughter's had a cell phone since she was 10,
Oh, really?
and yeah, pretty much. And she's 17 now. So
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm not. Don't want him to ever get his own cell phone, but I'm not ready for it yet. Anyway.
yeah, when we moved my nanny out to New Brunswick, she was about 9. So it was around that time because, very quickly she was going to have to start growing up and be a little bit more independent, not having a nana,
Yeah.
having mommy and daddy's one thing, but having mommy, daddy, and a nana. I mean, she was shuttled everywhere by van. I mean, she didn't even have to walk anywhere. So, because Nana didn't walk. If Nana was taken to the pool 2 blocks away, honestly, they got in the van and went. It was bad. Oh yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But no, she had to become a little independent, and that was good. It was good that she did some of that. I mean, it's not like when you and me were kids, where we walk or 10K and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
From home, and no one knew where we were. So, and we had that conversation, I think, the other night. And as long as I was home by dinner,
Well,
didn't matter where I went. Didn't matter where I went during the day. Did you get home by dinner? Yep.
Yeah.
Dad's none the wiser. Mom's happy. Good enough.
But yeah, it's funny how things have changed. 'Cause I know when I was 12, 13, I'd get home from school, I'd hop on the quad or even dirt bike. I'd throw the 22 over my shoulder and I'd go down the hill and I'd go shoot gophers or whatever, stuff like that. And even when I got to be like 15, my parents let it in the winter could fire up the snow. I had my own snowmobile. Sometimes they let me ride the snowmobile to school. So I'd snowmobile to school. Like that was about, it's probably about 10 kilometers, 10, 12 kilometers ride to school. I'd take the back way through the bush. No one ever worried.
Yeah.
Way I go. I guess the snowmobile could have broke down quite easily, but no, never any worry. Always showed up home.
No,
We were
times
way back.
definitely changed. I mean, I see some of these kids with their parents on the street now, 3, 4-year-old kids, and they won't know anything like how I knew it as a kid, how we would bump around and by ourselves and stuff. I mean, they are so connected to the, to the parents and even to the technology too. Like they're not going to know the independence we had.
Yeah, and I wouldn't let my I won't let my kids have the leash that I had. That's for sure. Not a chance. But Yeah, it's a different time. It's funny, you watch people nowadays. I watch other people to be like you talk about walking with their kids, and like you say, like 4-year-old, 5-year-old kids, and they're crossing the street, and their kids are behind them, and
Yeah,
they're crossing the street, and the kids are falling behind. They're not even looking to see where the kids are. And I'm like,
yeah,
what's wrong with you? They should be like 2 steps in front of you,
yeah.
so you can watch them. Like, yeah, nuts. I'm like,
I remember
what's
the
wrong with you?
one of the times we took my daughter to Hyde Park, and probably the same thing with the Metro Zoo here in Toronto. And we had just decided it was smarter to have that harness on the kid, just so that she could walk away from us. But guess what? It was basically a leash, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the looks we got, and then 2 years later, everybody had their kids on these
Oh
things.
yeah.
Oh yeah, in Toronto, yeah. That was the thing. It was getting people used to the idea, but then after that, everyone had them. Everyone had their kids on these things, and in certain areas, it just seems smarter.
Oh yeah, I can totally see it.
But you're absolutely right. Like, and I see the kids now. Some of them have their parents' cell phones. They're walking. Their faces are in the phone, and they're walking off the corners of sidewalks. And it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know how we don't have more fatalities in Toronto.
Well, I went out tonight just to check on the garden, and I could hear the zzz of like bike tires. And I looked, and there's 2 girls, like probably 15, 16-year-old. Then again, they could be the kids nowadays. It's hard to tell. They could have been 12 for all I know. They looked
Yeah.
older. But riding bike, and this is something I never could do. No hands. They're just pedaling with frickin' phone. They're holding their phone in their lap,
Yep.
looking at their phone,
Yeah. Wow.
and they're riding. I'm like, I can't even. I one hand, but no hands. I can't even do that, and they're frickin' on their phone.
I used to. I could ride my BMXs with no hands, and once or twice, you hit whatever and you get hurt.
Yeah.
But you're a young kid. You're made of rubber. You get up, not a big deal. Now, in my later teen years, when I was riding mountain bikes and road bikes, and then even later on as an adult, I never rode with no hands. Much wiser. Don't heal as quick, and it's like there's no way I'm taking both hands off. Much less am I going to do this and maybe look at a phone while I'm riding a bike. Like, nah, never happened. It's never happened. I don't do it in a car. I'm honest about it. I don't do it in a car. I don't do it on the bike. Sometimes when I see you say something at certain times and I'm in the car, trust me, it's a little message on my phone. My phone's turned sideways, and I ain't touching it until, or like on my trip, right? I told my wife, say something to Ryan, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yeah, no problem." I said, either do it or hit the microphone, and I'll talk to him straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't play when it comes to that, just because I'm already distracted enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, also, in my Toyota, I got a heads-up display. So my cluster is actually, I got a little $100, whatever it cost me, doohickey that connects to the OBD2 port.
Yeah.
Under the steering wheel, comes up, puts everything on the glass. So I see the speed. So I got, trip, speed, odometer. I got all kinds of info. Now it's a lot easier to see at night. But I love it, especially when I was traveling on that road trip. That's where it pays for itself, because after sundown, it's nice, it's clean, it's not bright, but it's clear, so you don't have to. When you look down at your cluster, your eyes are refocusing, right?
Yeah.
Well, all this info is right there in my field of view, very small. My eyes don't have to adjust focus; it's just there, so I always know my speed. I always know everything. Very handy when you're in a place when you don't want to get pulled over for speeding.
Yeah.
But so I got that, and I got the old school Garmin GPS, and then I got my cell phone. So I got all this crap up top. So I got plenty of distraction already.
Yeah.
The last thing I need to do is start touching things. But yeah, that trip, that was pretty awesome. For something that was not well planned.
Yeah.
That was very seat of the pants. And to think the whole thing started because we saw one stupid YouTube video with a doctor. I still can't remember his name, but me and my wife recognized him. Like, oh, we used to see him on CTV News all the time. And I guess he had moved or taken the new job in Quebec, where he's in Montreal, where he's teaching or on the staff at Laurier.
Okay.
Which is why he's out that way now. And then he was doing that one video talking about quack doctors and COVID and quack medicine. But of course, his backdrop being the whole store full of the rubber duckies, and you've seen the photos I've posted. Yeah. I mean, I am so glad that we went out there. But I tell you something. We left. Let's see, my wife picked up my daughter. Hey, Matt. Whoa.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, that's worthy of putting up. And on Facebook, no less, from San Jose. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Matt, I'm just telling some stories about some of the stuff I'm going to show off tonight and how they came into my possession. So that trip Friday. So, yeah, it started based on the video. We left here Friday night around 5:30-ish in the evening. And it's not that that would be a bad time for us. I mean, on a Friday night, that's a bad time period. But Friday night of the last long weekend of the summer, wow, big mistake. Oh, yeah. Getting out of Toronto wasn't bad. The problem was in Ontario, we have these en route stations where you pull off the highway, you get your gas. You could rest if you really wanted to. There's 4 or 5 restaurants, but maybe only one that's open 24/7, and good washrooms. Yeah. And Ontario's littered with them. Whether you go north or you go east-west across the 401, Ontario's awesome for traveling the major highway system. Quebec, not so much. You don't have that. You got little piss holes. If you pull off the highway, you really got to pull off the highway and go into the towns or cities. And Quebec does that intentionally. Ontario set up the en route system for the truck drivers, so they don't have to get caught in cities with their trucks. Yeah, they pull off the highway, get right back on. It's really sweet. Yeah, and I'm guessing some of the other provinces have it that well. It's just it's Ontario I'm familiar with, of course. But we go to the first or second one because I knew we didn't have enough gas to get out of Ontario. I knew that, and we also wanted dinner. So I said, well, at the first or second en route, we'll pull off. And my wife goes, okay, this one's coming up. I go, you sure? She goes, yeah, let's do this one now. I go, okay. We pull over because I didn't need it, you know. We pull off, and it's the first time ever, 25 years of driving that way, east across the country. And when we pulled into that en route, they were so packed they had overflow parking. I've never seen that before. We were in a field. I parked the car. I put the seat back. I put my hat down over my eyes because it was still sun up, right? Sun was still up. And there was no shade where I was, and I had the windows down. I kid you not, an hour and a half, she came back. The place was technically like a city block away compared to where I was parked. And she came back. I go, what happened? She goes, you will not believe the effing lines in there. I go, what? I've never seen that before. Never more than 10 or 15 people, and they move quick usually. But holiday weekend, everyone had the same idea, the travel Labor Day weekend. And I mean, that's like I said, this was a very poorly planned trip.
Everyone decided to pull off at the same spot.
Now, once we were done with that place, we got on the highway. Oh, my God, it was perfect. Driving the rest of the way, like, no one in front of me. No one's slowing me down. I set the cruise control in which in that car, the car would drive itself, right? Yeah. It'll stay in the lane. It'll maintain distance. I can sit back and relax. I mean, I could practically read a newspaper. It's not Tesla, but it's close. Yeah. And I mean, going through Ontario was super sweet. Getting to Montreal. Now, normally, all my trips into Quebec are about going around Montreal because I'm usually heading to the coast. Well, this is the first time in maybe second time in 20 years where that wasn't the case. First time was my nephew's christening. We were going to Laval, Quebec. So that meant I actually had to pay attention to where I was in Quebec and Montreal and everywhere I'm going, and had to pay attention to a ridiculous highway system there. And it is ridiculous. They got ramps on ramps. And of course, being English and having very little French, I'm reading these signs, oost and east, and trying to make heads or tails of these auto route here and auto route there. Like, why can't they keep it the 401 going all the way through, or call it Highway 1 or whatever, No, they can't be that. They got to call it something different as soon as you get to that problem. It's
at the very least, have it bilingual, the signs bilingual or something like that.
And there's some of that in Quebec. It's a pain. It is. I know I cry a lot when I drive through there, but it wasn't too horrible though. But of course, I'm driving. I mean, when I crossed into Montreal, it was probably about 11 o'clock at night. And at this point, I'm already upset because when we started the trip, I should have been there by 10:30 at the very latest.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, it was like 11:30-ish. It's like, oh my God. I go, I'm desperate. I'm going to get to the hotel before it's 12 o'clock. I'm going to get there on Friday night. I didn't care if it was 11:59, right? And sure enough, literally, I pulled into the lot at 11:58. She goes, well, I'll go check in. I put the seat back because I figured this might take a while. I mean, I don't know how fast this is going to be. Wife comes back and she's got the 2 digital keys, and we unload and go to our motel, and it's okay. 2 seats. It looked clean enough for us being, there at midnight, and I'm exhausted. I just want to lay down. I don't care. We crash. We wake up, and my wife goes to get the continental breakfast in a box. Yeah. And we knew this. We knew they were doing this, and this is the age of COVID. And it's 1 muffin, bread, a fruit, and peanut butter and jam packets. And then my wife brought orange juice up. But great orange juice. But that was breakfast. And I was okay with it. I actually ate it. It's like, this is pretty good because you know what? There's nothing here that's going to make you sick. Because, sometimes when you travel and you have that breakfast in a greasy spoon or at the hotel and eggs, bacon, whatever, tastes great, right? And an hour and a half later, you kind of regret it. You're on the road, like, I really shouldn't have had all that greasy stuff. And you know what? I got to admit, breakfast in a box. I'm kind of a believer now. I've got a new strategy for breakfast on the road now. That muffin and bread and the starches, it was okay. I mean, not the best for you, but yeah, that was, and then we went. So we left the hotel. We went straight for Le Petit Duck Shop because we were, and I think that was the first post I made in the morning, Saturday morning. It's like, found the duck. But here's the thing. When I posted that, and then I later posted, I think, the front of the store, we didn't go in right away because guess what? Where I had parked right across the street from that store, it's literally, these are the old roads of Montreal. Cobblestone roads, really nice. Some of them are 300 plus years old. They're crazy old. And even though there was cars there, they were actually had special markings on them. Permits, basically. It's like, oh man, I'm going to get ticketed for sure. It's a tourist zone, right? And what's funny is I never saw a cop the whole time, but I figure it's a tourist zone. I'm in trouble if I park here. Yeah. So we drive up the street, and my wife finds another spot. I park there. It takes her 10 minutes to figure out, remember, everything's in French, to figure out the parking meter thing. And she realizes the spots are marked with numbers. Not where I was.
No.
And she tried to fake it and key it in. Nope. Great. So can't legally park there. So we end up driving 6 city blocks away, down to the water, which is okay. But there's some sort of science center kind of building there. Not open, of course, but parking is. And it was either $21 for the day or $8 for the day. I can't remember which. It was probably higher. Don't care. That's what the credit card's for.
Yeah.
But we parked there, but at least we knew, okay, this is a big, clean, safe spot, as opposed to that spot my wife found. Because where the place she found, literally the car that was in front, no license plate, one flat tire, rear window knocked out, and people have been throwing garbage in there probably for weeks. Yeah. So maybe the old part of Montreal is a little dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice to park in this nice, clean, modern tourist spot parking area down near the water, which, by the way, that whole waterfront they got, that is a tourist trap. You got what looks like a semi-permanent carnival with merry-go-rounds and zip lines over the highway. Like it's, oh my God, it's crazy. All set up for tourists. It's great. It looks like a lot of fun if we had more time.
Yeah.
But so we walked back to the Petite Duck shop and spent, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes in there. Incredible store for what it is. I mean, if you were just walking by, you probably wouldn't see it because unfortunately, most of the build, and of course, these roads are all on basically a hill.
Yeah.
But that store is, kind of like a basement store. So you only see it from like, maybe your chest down. Okay. So it's real easy to miss. Yeah. Even though they had a big window that I took a picture of, it's real easy to miss. But yeah, went down in there and you sanitize. Everyone's tell you they're really good about that there. Yeah. Interesting to see a boutique store full of one silly toy though. But what was crazy though?
It's just that's it.
That's it. Rubber duckies, rubber ducky keychains, rubber ducky socks, rubber ducky t-shirts, all rubber ducky themed with little variation on that. Hey, Severio. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. You've been in here before.
From the World Trader.
Because I remember your name.
I was say, actually, I think I
coming in off of Facebook too. Cool.
I think I remember that one as well.
Did I promote it in World Trader on Facebook? I put it in a bunch of groups actually earlier today. Glad to have you with us. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so the store. Now I actually only have my rubber ducky left. Everyone's taking the rubber duckies, and my daughter actually put hers in the bathtub. Yeah, she actually wanted to test it because hers had a gimmick. Hers had sound and lights too.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, so in this house, I think we got the Donald Trump one, and we got a clown one, and we got a whatever. I think she got Marilyn Monroe. But anyway, so I'll show you the one that I still have in the bag. I told everyone leave them in the bag, but what are you going to do? So let's see here. Yoda, may the bath be with you is what it says. Yeah. And you can see the back of the silly box here. They have, let's see if I can keep it out of the light. They got all kinds of them. Spock. Some of them I had in the pictures. He's soft like you'd expect. And apparently, I think this one lights up when you get wet. But there's a bunch of gimmicks for these things. It's like, I figure if we're going to drive, 12, 13, 1,400 kilometers round trip to go to a rubber ducky store, I had to come back with one. I could not.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And half my time was deciding what was I going to spend money on. Some were 15, some were 20, and some were 30. This was probably closer to $30. Probably. But yeah, I mean, and once we had gotten there, it's like, that was pretty cool. Mission accomplished. So anything else that was going to happen or not happen would be gravy. But,
hey, Kevin.
Wow. Hey, Kevin Creamer. But I was, the Montreal story. Yeah. I tell you, though, it's so frustrating being an Anglo and driving around there. Everyone treated me really nice, and I got to admit, that was a lot different from my past experiences in Montreal. But, yeah, we had a really good time. And what was frustrating Saturday was we tried to get into that botanical gardens on Saturday. Couldn't do it because that was one of our goals. So we wanted to do some shopping. We wanted to see the gardens. We wanted to do the rubber ducky store. And beyond that, we hadn't really planned out an itinerary because we were piss poor at planning anything. Didn't know what we wanted to see. If we had a week in Montreal and we could park the car somewhere secure, we would take transit and go see all the historic sites. But actually, I wanted to go to a Lego store just to see if there was something there that was unique. But that didn't happen. And my wife was really cool about what was going to be the second part of that trip, which was the return trip home. I figured, well, when we leave Quebec, I wanted to go to Ottawa, outside of Ottawa, near where Corey lives, and see this Play Value toy store. Because I've ordered from them on and off over the years. And it's been kind of cool because sometimes they've had a lot of Lego sets that were discontinued, but still retail or close enough to retail that it was a fairly good deal.
Yeah, that's a neat store, isn't it?
Sorry?
I said that's a neat store, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. And I feel bad. I took a short video, which I'll probably post maybe tomorrow. It's only about 2 minutes long. And I only took a video in one aisle just because leaving Montreal 1 o'clock after we had some food on Sunday. And in the morning, we had done the botanical gardens because we couldn't get in Saturday because they were so packed. So, we did about 3-4 hours at the flower place. Then we went to A&W. It's funny. We go to A&W before we had left Montreal. And, they give you paper straws. Well, I hadn't been to A&W in years.
Yeah.
They had paper straws. And when you go into anywhere in Quebec, you got to do the whole COVID thing. So we got the cell phone. We're showing off our documentation so we could sit and eat in the restaurant. And then my wife comes with the drinks with the paper straws. And it's like, no way. I am not drinking from a paper straw.
Yeah.
I send my daughter out to the car where I got it parked because I got a bin of dollars. I got dollar store straws. I got a whole bin of them, right? So she comes back in with a fistful of straws and she wants to come back in. Well, these guys want her to do all the stuff again. I go, we just did it. And the guy's giving my daughter a hard time. I go, hey, she was here with me 5 minutes ago. Oh, but it's policy. Anyone coming in the door? We are still here. We haven't even left your property. The car is on your property. So, poor little guy. We almost went full Karen on the guy. We didn't show him the documentation again, though. It's like once is enough, buddy. And so she came.
Enough the first time. It should be good enough.
Yeah, it was good enough the first time, buddy. Even though we're out of towners, right? But I forgot how much I liked A&W. It wasn't bad. I really should have had a float though. If I'm going to be in A&W, it was nice for a change too. Absolutely. Well, the night before for dinner, we went to like an incredible poutine place. Yeah. Oh, and that was just I mean, I was lucky to even be able to eat the next day. But full Karen, you're right,
and the
Kevin.
Paper straws, like
Dude, after 20 minutes, they're garbage. I literally and technically I have both the square plastic bin of plastic straws and now I got a Ziploc bag of them because I didn't know where my wife had moved them. And so I've got probably 300 straws in the car. That's how ridiculous it is.
I've got at least that in our cupboard upstairs. We usually always end up with extra straws from like McDonald's and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I just keep them all.
Well, that's what my mother does that. Wherever she goes that has plastic straws, she steals them. I mean, like a fistful. It's like you're killing that store there.
Well, I think McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, all the ones that we will do when we're in a hurry or something, don't have time to cook, just pick something up the way home.
Yeah.
So, I got tons of them. Yeah, like A&W's bad. They've been doing the paper straw thing for several years.
See, that killed. I mean, when Timmy, I think was it Timmy's that started. Can't remember who it was, but anyway, once the other guys started doing it, it's like I'm done with this. And I told my wife, "Give me plastic straws. I'm keeping them in the car." But so I knew the distance for this place near Ottawa was going to be about 2 hours drive. So I told my wife, I said, "We got two plans on Sunday. If things are going good and you want to just keep bumping around, we can spend all day Sunday and we can even stay overnight again and drive back Monday." And of course she'd have to book us another night somewhere.
Yeah.
Or We got to leave Montreal at 1:00 because it's 2 hours to where I want to go, and I don't want to be so tight. The store closes at 4.
Oh, really?
So we leave A&W at 1ish, get on the road. I kid you not, almost immediately, rain. Hard rain, the kind of rain that hurts if you put your arm out the window and it hurts your arm. And that you turn on your wipers all the way and you're making decisions. Should I pull over? Because it's pretty white.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm making the decision like, and remember, I'm driving cruise control on the highway. Like once I'm 20 minutes out of Montreal, as soon as I got on the 417, which is back in Ontario, once I'm on the 417, I'm full cruise. I'm letting the car drive. And the rain is coming and going, coming and going. It's like, oh, this is killing me. But every time it's hitting hard, well, I'm not an idiot. I'll reduce the cruise to 10 or even 20 under the speed limit. But I want to be able to, but it's almost whiteout conditions. It's that bad. And I don't want to pull off the road because I'm just as worried about getting hit in the ass, right? I figure I'm a moving target, you know. And there, in some parts of the highway, there just really isn't a spot to pull over. So I figure if I could see the red lights ahead, even if it's faint, we're good. And as soon as those lights get closer, I'm backing off. And the car will do that anyway, right? That's the beauty of the cruise control on the modern cars. But yeah, so we get there around, I want to say 3-ish. But here's my problem. I knew 25 minutes out from the store, I knew I was going to have, according to the car, no gas.
Yeah.
But I know what my car can do. When it says no gas, I got in good conditions, highway conditions, and weather is good, I got 80 to 100 kilometers with the gas that's in the line. No problem. So I told my wife, no problem. When we get to the store, we'll do our thing in the store. As soon as we get out, we'll take a piss break, go eat, fuel up, right? Here's what I didn't know from Corey and other guys talking about that store.
Yeah.
Where that store is 10 or 20 minutes outside of Ottawa, there's John Deere beside it, and there's nothing else around it for 18 kilometers, or at least 18 kilometers in the direction I wanted to go.
Yeah. Nothing.
Thank God, though, that store had a good washroom, because as soon as we all got there, we all went and found that washroom. And you know what? They must know this. Like, their store is so far away from everyone else that anyone making a trip there, they need to use the facilities. So they had a pretty decent washroom. Oh, my wife is back from dropping off my unadopted daughter. Ooh. So do you have a real straw? Yeah, see? My wife doesn't waste time giving me the paper straws. What's Kevin saying here? A good alternative paper straws are the bamboo. You can reuse them. Kevin, I'm not that good a guy. I'm not going to wash straws. Hey, would you like an ice cap? There we go.
I remember when I was in college. This is something that only college kids would do. Ziploc bags. I'd use them for like my lunches and stuff. And I'd actually turn them inside out and wash the Ziploc bags so I could reuse them again.
Oh, no way.
And then stand them up and let them dry. Yeah.
Nope. I can't say I've ever done that. Please.
They're expensive.
Well, you're telling me, dude, my wife gave me more Ziploc bags for the teardown project. And you know what's funny? Every box of large freezer Ziplocs that I've picked up so far, look at this, 50 bags. That's a large one. This one is 25. These are all large. Yeah. But you buy them in different stores, right? Everyone's got a different size large for real Ziploc brand.
Oh, really?
I don't use the other ones. Although I will.
I've been buying the dollar store ones for this specific for bagging stuff like Lego.
Yeah.
I would just buy the cheap ones. They seem to work fine. They've got like the little plastic fastener thing that you slide over.
Yeah, those are cool. The only real reason I go with the freezer bags is two reasons, actually. Food grade plastics, right? I'm not worried about them leaching any chemicals that will be harmful to the plastic I'm putting in them.
Oh, okay.
Because if it's good enough for the food, it's good enough for the plastic. Okay.
Right.
And any North American made sandwich bag would be the same. I'm just saying I have a lot of faith in the Ziploc ones. And these freezer ones, the Mylar, they're thicker, right? So I'm not worried about the Lego tearing them. They might kind of stretch it and poke it a little.
Yeah.
But I've never been worried about one escaping through the sidewall. So and they take marker pretty good. Whereas I have used some cheaper ones and my marker's gone right through it.
Oh.
Both the ink or I've even poked my way through. I don't mind using the small, cheaper ones, like you're saying, the dollar store ones, maybe for smaller bags, like if I'm just, bagging up smaller bits.
Yeah.
And then putting them in the big one. Let's see, what's he saying? Kevin says A&W start with paper straws here in Canada, as far as I know, than Tim's. Before COVID, I think so. But I'm just not a fan of this stuff. I mean, we went from plastic straws and paper to paper straws that also have paper on them, but they are laced with plastic. You know, there's a plastic spray, right? They're plasticized, and it's like, are you kidding me? It's just horrible. You know, if they really want to do the world a favor, get rid of the straws, because once the straws are gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
Don't give me paper straws and pretend, and don't allow me the opportunity to still buy plastic ones everywhere else, because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they could find a way to make the paper straws not change the taste of your food or your drink after 20 minutes and not completely dissolve, but whatever they're going to do, whether they wax it or plasticize it, it's horrible. But yeah, that trip was pretty cool. Other than the one minor experience with the hotel that my wife had, and then she went all Karen on them, and then I went on Yelp and just dragged them through the mud. I'd taken so many pictures of that place and showed them all the ridiculousness, including that toilet. Non-existent AC. Yeah, that was pretty horrible. But yeah, that was a good trip. So trip back, we end up there. Now, before we get to my bricks, I tell you, best Lego selection I've seen outside of a Lego store, and probably better than most Toys R Us locations, like the best Toys R Us you can think of.
Yeah.
Play value is better, including having sets that you don't see on shelves in a Walmart or a Toys R Us or a Mastermind.
Yeah.
You know, think of the biggest black box adult sets right now. They're on the shelf there at Play Value.
Yeah.
Don't ask me the prices if they matched up. I wasn't looking at Lego, didn't care. I just walked by like, ooh, they got everything, and kept going, because that was not my goal. I can buy Lego anywhere. Kevin, you would like my wife, because my wife can go full Karen on anyone. But actually, going to the washroom in that store, the lane that had the washroom had probably the biggest selection of puzzles I'd ever seen. My mom's into puzzles, and there's one name like Rasenberger or something. Yeah. And I saw that in the corner of my eye, and then I went to the washroom, came out, and told my wife, okay, you got to call my mom and find out if there's some sort of puzzle she wants, because I know during COVID, puzzles have been hard to come by because everyone was home. A lot of people bought puzzles, and my mom is a puzzle person. I figure, when else am I going to have this opportunity? And I know my mom's not going to be roadworthy enough to travel 6 hours or 4 hours to Ottawa to look at silly puzzles.
Yeah, I was going to say, to go hunt for puzzles.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but I can't see my mom being that roadworthy. And I definitely don't want her husband making that drive. Not with him at the wheel anyway. But, so yeah, we found two, because she likes seascapes and she's looking at stuff. My wife's sending pictures back and forth. But I go down the Holy Grail. The reason I went, the Kobe aisle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. So, I mean, as soon as you enter and you make a left around the cashier, by the way, also the world's biggest selection of Playmobil for people who are into those toys. I thought Mastermind and Toys R Us had a good selection of Playmobil toys. These guys had everything,
Oh
and
yeah.
even some older ones. Yeah, not my cup of tea, but if you got that kind of money, really cool stuff.
Well, yeah, it like our we got a local toy store here that they've got lots of Playmobil stuff. Whenever we go in there, I always make a point of looking because it's just they're neat to look at the boxes and stuff because it's
Yeah,
like holy crap, like Ghostbuster stuff and things like that. Like
they're licensed
tons of
IPs.
it.
It's incredible what they have there now.
Yeah,
I mean, they got 3 or 4 core lines of their own stuff, but all that licensed stuff they do, oh, it's great.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'm actually surprised they don't or haven't figured out a way to get a toy, Star Wars toy license out of Disney. But
yeah.
maybe they can't figure out the wording to get around the other licenses. But yeah, made a beeline for the Kobe lane, and for the next 25 minutes, I'm looking at Kobe, but I'm also looking at stuff for my mom. My daughter's looking at some board game stuff, and we're just doing this circle of stuff, because we only got so much time, and then they close, and we probably won't be back for at least a year, because I cannot see me going back this year anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like, and of course, I can order everything online. I've ordered from them before, but seeing it is a different deal altogether.
Eh?
Holding a box, turning it around, and they had some stuff on display. They had a bunch of it on display. So it's like, oh, they had. You know what kills me? They had a beautiful. Was it the Missouri, the American battleship or whatever, on display? Yeah. If they had one, I would have bought one, but it probably would have been $400. But it had to be 36 inches long. Had to be on display. But there was no sets of that there. They did have a couple other battleships and an aircraft carrier.
That stuff's expensive, eh?
$200 to $300.
Yeah.
We're definitely into Lego pricing on this stuff, but
yeah,
beautiful stuff. The quality is just amazing. But that whole lane I walked down, and it's set up so cool. You got tanks, and then planes, and then vehicles, and then some odds and ends, and just a great setup.
Yeah.
So I kept going back and forth in my head how much I wanted to spend. I figured in my head I wanted to spend $150 to $300, but I wanted, most bang for my buck. And how do I want it to be big stuff and only get one, or do I want to get a couple of small stuff? It was hard. If I had an hour, it probably wouldn't have helped me try to make a decision. No, and honestly, I could have just said charge it and just walk out with 5 of them, walk out with 6, whatever, and be dumb, right? But I'm trying to have some restraint. I wanted something. So I'll show you what I walked out of there with. Hopefully I won't get my boxes wet here. Got condensation from that drink. So I made 2 purchases. I'll show you the smaller one first, because this one I think is probably obvious for a lot of people.
Oh, that's the
Corsair.
Corsair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I know Cabbage I'm pretty sure he already did this review. I've seen so many people already do this one, but it's like...
Yeah, Cabbage Boom Bricks has done that one too now.
It's such a nice set. Plus the angles of the wings. It's like, I really, really wanted to have this. And it's just so beautifully round here. A nice cockpit piece. All printed parts. It displays well on its own, even if you never buy another one. And it's something I like about the way Kobe did the military stuff. They branded based on war. Which era? The Great War for the first one, World War II, Korean War, whatever era your particular set is based on, it's there. I don't know if they did that. They also have another subline called the World of Tanks from the video game. And I don't know how accurate any of those sets were. I really didn't have a lot of interest in them because, dude, I've got a lot of tanks. I really don't need. I really don't. And I thought about getting a tank and an aircraft, but I decided I really don't need any more tanks. I have more tanks than probably anyone I know. And that's if you don't, if you don't even include the Call of Duty sets, I still got a lot of tanks. I mean,
Yeah. They've got
so
that's the historical collection. Then did you see there's another one? It's called Tank Museum.
tank museum, yeah,
Yeah, that's the one that I have. Is one of the Tank Museum ones.
yeah. Kevin, no, this is Kobe, a Polish producer. I think it's just Poland. I had looked it up earlier, actually. Da, 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 da. But of course, the sales office for this is out of the UK. Kobe Factory, Polskiego. So it'll be Poland.
Yeah.
I mean, my Polish ain't great, but yeah, I can figure that much out.
And it's neat. Comes with a stand.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
But I figured, that's going to be a good, solid entry into these. I don't know how many of these I'll buy going forward, no matter how good it is. I mean, not cheap, but I know it's a quality product just from all the trusted people I know who have bought them. And I've got one or two Kobe sets in my past, but it's kind of back in my past. So
yeah.
And then this guy. Now, when I bought this one, I have been looking at 3 different sets for this particular line and wave from this company. This is the middle size set. I'll move that back.
Oh, Top Gun.
Top Gun. Because they have the license for Top Gun.
I've been watching that one too, actually, myself.
And it does have a Maverick branded helmet. So presumably he's flying the Super Hornet in the movie since it's a branded set. It's the mid-range set. There was a cheaper one, probably more on scale with the Corsair. And then they had like the F-14 or F-15 or whatever with Goose, from the first movie. Because they actually had a Goose figure. So they had that aircraft, which is a bigger one with the sweep wings. And I really thought of that because I thought that would be a cooler build. Again, I'm looking for most bang for my buck. And I figure combined, the 90 and 65. 150-ish. I got 2 really nice, cool, different eras.
Yeah. It's too bad they don't do free shipping.
So, yeah, see, it's been a little while since I ordered from them. And I asked the lady at the first lady I spoke to, I asked her, I'd asked about the selection. Is there more online? She says, no. If you see it here, we have it online because we treat them as the same. Basically, the store is the warehouse, vice versa. I go, oh, okay, cool. So, if I want it and if I don't get it, I can always order it, right? Yeah. So I didn't have to overcommit to anything. But I wanted to come home with something on this trip and, really cool stuff. And of course, when you can hold the boxes, and trust me, I picked up a lot of boxes. So if I had COVID, trust me, the next 3 days, everyone else is going to get it because I handled a lot of boxes. Because that's the experience of going to a store. You get to see it and hold it and think about it. But what's upsetting is there wasn't too many sets in the Korean War. Like I thought about I'll get like a good guy and bad guy plane,
Yeah.
And I did see another one with the branding for the Korean War. So I thought, maybe I should get like biplanes from the first war era. And it's like, oh, but I didn't want a Red Baron kind of plane. I just really didn't. See, for me, Corsairs, like, I don't know if you remember a TV show called Black Sheep.
No.
It ran in the 70s or 60s. No, 70s. But, or early 80s. Late 70s, early 80s, Black Sheep. And it was really cool. So I got, get to see these aircraft Corsairs. Hey, Open Builder Pete.
Here we are.
So I was drawn to this set no matter. This one was pretty much a guarantee I was walking home with this one. If I went home with nothing else, I was going to grab this one. And I just figured, oh, Top Gun, how can I not get a Top Gun Maverick set, you know? And even when I left, I thought, oh, I should have got the other one. If you had to have a Top Gun one, shouldn't you have one with Goose in it? And yeah, that's okay. Not cheap. But it's also nice to get them in box, because I would be so tempted to order these from a Chinese source, not get the box, get reproduced manuals. Even if it was Kobe bricks, it's not going to be the same experience, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted that nice experience. So I'm pretty glad. I'm happy with these. Not cheap. You definitely feeling like the Lego pricing. But from everything I've read and seen, the brick quality is there. You get printed parts, no stickers. I'm getting original sets in themes I want. You know, this could be money Lego could be making from me. And that wall of Kobe, of military stuff, you don't think I would have half of it if it was Lego branded? I'd have it.
Oh, yeah. I can see it too.
Easy. There was so much quality. There was definitely some sets that were like, oh, that's kind of weak looking. But there was so much that was good.
Yeah.
So much. Actually, for me, a lot of the cars, like, most of the tanks were okay. But the ships and the aircraft, most of them just top-notch stuff. Like,
yeah.
I really loved it.
Yeah, some of like those, like, if I could justify spending some of the big the big battleships and stuff, would be pretty cool.
I mean, there was one at $295, and I looked at it and like, okay, 3,000 pieces. This is pretty good. Yeah. I like that piece count, and it's a big set and this and that. Like, but if I buy that, I'm only walking home with that. And I really wanted the Corsair.
Yeah.
So it really sucked that the Corsair kind of screwed me out of the biggest set. But you know, this gives me 2 different times I get to build this, and I can always get more.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, my credit card doesn't work in Montreal online. They gladly will take my money. So yeah, that was my whirlwind trip. Oh, and all the way home from there, I guess because we were all kind of like chilled and just wanted to relax, even though it was only 3 days of you know, driving around Montreal and Ottawa, and I mean, that takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
Because really, you figure the 2 hours from Montreal to Ottawa, and then once we left the toy store, which was just around when they closed at 4, we didn't get home till 9-ish after dropping Emily off. So, you know, 5 hours when it should have been 4 hours home. I mean, but we stopped like every hour. At one point, we stopped for water, at a gas station, and my wife went in, and I chilled because I figured they're going to take a bit and they come right back out with nothing. It turns out all their coolers were busted, so they had nothing cold. All right, next gas. And every time you stop at a gas station, you lose 10, 15 minutes, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even though you think oh, just in and out. Yeah, it's like 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, Mama, you know what's funny? It turns out I was literally 2 minutes away from Corey at one point when I went through Carlton Place. So I was literally 2 minutes from him. He's right off the highway, apparently. Which was very weird, because when you leave Ottawa, and the sign that I see, because the route I chose, but it was also technically the fastest route at that time of day, leaving Ottawa, Waze, I love Waze, told me Highway 7. All right. Well, I know Highway 7 will pretty much take you to Toronto if you let it, or close enough. And then it goes through the top of Toronto, through Vaughan and whatever. But the routing would take me 2 hours on Highway 7, and then it would stop in near Cordes, Ontario, which would still be like an hour from Toronto, which isn't bad. And then you take the 401 the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But Highway 7, it was so nice to drive. And we played the cemetery game. Have you ever heard of the cemetery game? You should answer no, because I created the cemetery game. So I'd be real upset.
I don't think so.
No. Well, okay, you know, people play I Spy with My Little Eye, right?
Yeah.
I hate that game. Our game is cemetery. And then you yell it out, you know. So you're driving on the highway, cemetery, you call it out. And this has become a driving game that me and my family play, and Emily play, anyone who's in a car. And this is our vacation trip thing. Because if you're driving long distance, chances are you'll be in areas where you get to see cemeteries and churches and other stuff. And one day I just created a game, and it became this thing of points. And on some day trips, we've had, 5, 10, 15 points in a day. And, I actually got no points that day. I thought that route home would have been amazing. And I predicted it would be amazing because I figured, we're all country roads here. Highway 7 from Ottawa back to Toronto, 80% of that's country roads. You're doing 80K, 90K, almost the entire way, which was nice. Very scenic.
Did you break out in some John Denver? Country road.
You know what? Yeah, you want to know something? We actually played very little music on the way there or back, which is kind of weird for us. And I don't know if it's because it's a short road trips. Like, Toronto to Montreal is not long. You could do it in 5 hours if you got a heavy foot.
When I think of the cemetery game, we're like, okay, we're gonna play this fun game that we the Martin family tradition. Cemetery.
Well, I found out that Emily with her family does play this game now, and they call it out. But of course, it's a great game because it's just a variation on I Spy. But it's like, well, you pick that one or two things that you're not going to see every minute. You don't want to say the color blue or the color green or a lamppost. That's stupid. But something that takes time and forces you to look out. So we've turned it into a family tradition. It's really funny. And then, of course, my daughter cheats. And even Emily cheat. Like, well, I know there's a cemetery over there. When we're dropping Emily off, well, she lives 2 blocks from a cemetery. She goes, there's a cemetery over there, and she called it out. I go, you can't call that out. That's cheating. But she knows where it is. It's like, it's okay. I'm pretty sure she won anyway.
Yeah, you're disqualified.
You're disqualified. But we'll have to make a trip back to Montreal with better planning, and another trip to Ottawa, and not just that dumbass toy store. There's got to be. I know there's a lot of good historic stuff, but I hope there's something that stands out. I just don't want to read plaques about old buildings, Yeah. I hope there's something there. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. The botanical gardens was kind of the nicest thing I've seen in a long time. I really do dig it. I took a lot of pictures. What I'll do is, what I'll do? I'll post a link. I'll put them on my Google Photos, and I'll post like 100 photos I took of the gardens. Because there's some really nice ones. I actually turned it. I had to replace your kid's wallpaper on my phone, Ryan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the flowers took over. We saw this incredible flower in the Japanese garden in Montreal. Oh, you paused out on me.
Oh,
you okay?
You hear me now?
I hear you great. I just think it's a little YouTube lag or a little StreamYards lag. Something's killing us there. Hello? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Kevin, she definitely figured it out. It looks like Ryan's frozen on us, but we'll give him a chance. StreamYard's actually very good about allowing the reconnection.
Yep.
I hear you. Hang on. I heard you say yep. I don't see it moving, though. I'm just going to move back and forth so we know my end's still working. There we go. So, yeah, everyone's seeing Ryan freeze. I don't think it's Ryan's connection so much as StreamYards is probably choking on something. Yeah, she definitely, you know what? God bless her. She figured out a loophole. That's pretty smart because she knew exactly where the cemetery was. Because in the dark, I barely know where she lives. So, yeah, she definitely figured something out. She's a smart kid. I should be happy my daughter's got smart friends.
Yeah.
Could be worse because I see some real dingbats. Hell, I used to hang around with a lot of dingbats. So she's definitely better. My daughter's better than her old man. That's for sure. So what have you been working on? Getting up and down. You're gonna. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, the one I took apart.
Yeah, so
that would have been funny.
I'm not ready to build
if you would have been building and I would have been taking it apart. We should have worked that out a little bit better. That could have been an interesting stream. The simultaneous build and tear down of that set. It's a good set.
I got this from Brad when did I get it? Last year? I'm trying to think when I bought it. But I did. I had gone through it, and actually, it was missing just actually a little baggie of pieces.
Right.
So I had done an inventory and let him know, and he hit me up with everything.
Wow. Freezing can be brutal sometimes, eh? I turned off the 1080p the other day that I had running for free just because it was lagging.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to beg.
Lag check 1 2 3. Lag check 1 2 3. Come on, StreamYards. Hey Ryan, I'll tell you what. If you can hear me,
yeah.
Disconnect. So drop out, and then use the link I gave you, and come back in.
Okay, right back.
We'll just see if it gives you a clean connection. There we go. It's something we can try. I don't know what else we can try. StreamYards doesn't give me a lot of control over the connection. But Mama says there was a fair bit of freezing earlier, and it does seem like something's choking him out. I haven't gotten one connection warning on this end. Oh, look at that. I just learned some stuff here. I'm just clicking on some stuff. Cool. What's that do? Oh, I better not click on that. That could be bad for me. Remove me from my own stream. I wonder what would show. Well, that's good. Let's see. Shake your head. Oh, yeah, that's catching you just fine now. You were super pixelated, and your audio would stutter, and then you'd freeze. And
oh, really?
Yeah, even when it sounded like you were coming back, and then it would be, and then frozen, and
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it must have been StreamYards.
I think so. I mean, I've definitely discovering even more hiccups. So I had the 1080p set up for a week.
Yeah.
Which ended today or yesterday. And I did one stream with it, and I loved the video because I took a look at it afterwards on YouTube, and it's like, wow, it's clean, it's sharp.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. For StreamYards, whether you're hosting or not, each camera is a tab, each tab is a camera, blah, blah, blah. Those are 3 independent sources going to StreamYards. Well, those are 3 1080p streams coming from me in this case when I have 3 going.
Yeah.
And it's collating, doing whatever on the back end, and then shunting it out to the YouTube and Twitter Twitch and Facebook.
Yeah.
So instead of taking 3 720 streams, or in this case right now 2 720 streams, it was taking 3 1080s, and I could see problems where I never had problems before, or where I never had consistent problems.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing, oh, look at this interesting little network hiccup thing I've never seen in StreamYards before. Little icon that would pop up. It's like, oh, this is not fun. Now I'll try on another PC again at some point.
Yeah.
Putting one or two of those tabs, and also, do some more network checks. But it's like, yeah, it's right now. It's not worth me spending any more money.
Yeah.
Than I do now for 1080p if it's not going to be a good experience for people.
Yeah.
It's like, why? I only paid for this so I could have people on with me. And if it's not going to be a good experience for everyone, don't need it. Don't need it.
Yeah, so what I was saying, I'm just I'm going back now. I'm just going reverse through the booklets. I'm putting them back in numbered bags, just so when I do decide to build it.
That is brutal. See, I keep wanting to do that. Really? See, I keep wanting to do that, and I can't do that. I don't know. And you've seen me, like I think my longest now is 3 hours on stream sorting. I think it was the Chinese sets, right?
Yeah.
Before I could start building. And that became its own stream because I was too tired after that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. And the idea of me looking through each page, taking the pieces, because that's what you're doing, and you're doing, okay, putting them in the cup or in the Ziploc.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what. So I talked to Brad. And I don't know if you remember this or not. I won't repeat it, just because when I do get the set, I'll have it on New Bricks. But
oh yeah.
So he has found the missing piece for the set that I've paid for.
Yeah.
But he had to order it from Austria.
Oh really?
Yeah. I went online. I took a look. That was not a cheap part. He may have regretted offering me that set at the price he did on my last stream. That was I mean, he said he was doing me a favor, and it was, to honor some stuff I've done for him, and that's cool. But yeah, that one piece was not cheap.
Yeah.
Like, oops. But so whenever that comes, then what I'll do is I'll drive out his way. I'm hoping, I posted today, there's 2 shows, one next week and one the week after. And I'm hoping that it'll coincide with one of those shows. It'll give me an excuse to go out to the show, see him, pick up the set he owes me, and then get a set that Jonathan's got. Oh, you see, I'm trying to get Jonathan Hudson on the streams with us because he's a Lego guy. He's a Mega Bloks guy. He's actually got 3 rooms in his basement dedicated to this hobby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he's this close to having, like, he's got a Bricklink store, but it's not turned on, right? He's on the cusp of doing so many cool things. I just want to, come on.
Give him that
and he goes
nudge.
On his wife's video game streams, right? But he doesn't do this with us. It's like, come on, man, you gotta. And he's so isolated in Niagara Falls area, I won't say exactly where he is, just in case he's worried about his privacy.
Yeah.
But I really like to get him on. He's such a cool guy.
I imagine you're getting some collector, the fig, what is it, marbles? I bet.
Usually he's my CMF guy.
CMF guy, that's what I love.
He offered me good deals in the beginning, and I've pretty much just stayed with him. Even though I've actually at one point stopped with the CMFs, but it's like I'm kind of stuck with them now. I still don't have Nintendo 2 and 3, and I don't know if I'm going to bother with those. Although I did like Series 1. It was really cool. It was super cool. Actually, they're sitting on the floor beside me still. That's probably a bad sign, considering that was before Christmas. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I've never really, like, CMFs are neat and all, but unless they come out with, if they come out with the Star Wars one, that would be one that I've got to get a complete set.
They do that, and that changes everything. I mean, the Marvel, they did the DC before, and that was nice. Now they got the Marvel, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They do Star Wars. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
I think if they do one series of Star Wars, all you're going to see after that is you'll see like every 2 or 3 or 4 months a new Star Wars wave come out, and then you'll see them do the other stuff they've always been doing. Because once you crack that, crack the glass on that Star Wars,
Yeah.
it's never going to stop. You can't tell me it's going to do badly.
Oh,
But here's the problem: the CMFs, they've changed things. In the past, you used to always be able to get a case and you guaranteed like 3 sets, right?
yeah.
So anyone buying a case, they felt secure that they weren't going to get screwed. But dude, people are buying cases of these ones now, sealed. They're not getting complete sets sometimes.
Yeah, that sucks, eh? Not even
This is
one.
not
Like,
even
that's-
one. And it's like, oh, that hurts.
That's shady on Lego's part, just to do that. Like, at least get one complete set.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's willing to spend that couple $100, at least they can do is give you one complete set. Right?
Well, what's this mama said here? Annabella didn't like her minifigure. She said she's not yellow. So back to the drawing board. Oh, wow. She won't associate it with Lego unless it's got a yellow head. That's funny. Everyone else wants, a flesh tone for whatever their skin type is.
She
And
likes
it's like,
the
she
OG,
wants a yellow figure. She wants a
OG,
yellow Lego figure. Isn't that funny? She's the ultimate purist.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people don't like the minifigures from 2000 and plus, or, whenever it is Star Wars did that. Lando, which gave us the black figure, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, we got the flesh tone figures and Caucasian flesh. And yeah, there are a lot of people who don't like the non-yellows. And they say it kind of ruined the minifigure scene. I would argue that it helped Lego sell more. Because I think a lot of people would look at a Star Wars set and go, why is Luke yellow?
Oh, yeah.
Why is Princess Leia yellow?
Hey, why does Princess Leia have jaundice?
Oh, look what Mama's saying. And I love that she's saying this. No, she didn't want the yellow, and she's part Chinese. See, we had this discussion before, and I've always suggested that people who have said, oh, the yellow was neutral, and that's why Lego chose it. Yeah, sure. But I've heard them say something to that effect. And I've always suggested that it's a derogatory, or has been used as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
And look at that. Yeah.
Well, that's, you guys were talking about that with Shy or whatever. That
Yeah. Yeah. Your good
Got it.
memory. I couldn't remember who. That's very good. Yeah.
It was Shy.
Because I know people who have used that term towards certain people, and it's very ugly. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of those terms and stuff that were like 20 plus years ago. They were used quite often. Yeah, you don't use those terms anymore.
I said this when I was a kid, when I was taught counting, and literally, and I know without thinking it, I still do it. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5, right?
Yeah.
And it's ingrained. And what do I do when I'm counting sometimes? I'm counting skids. 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
And it's in there.
Yeah.
It might take a lifetime to get it out.
Yeah.
This is what it's.
Well,
it's what I was taught.
I remember that was on an old Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yes.
And that's what I remember from. So I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. That's where I remember that.
I know I've complained a lot about the censorship on the old cartoons because they're stealing my childhood and they're whitewashing history or whatever.
Yeah.
Speedy Gonzales cartoons are largely gone, at least the unaltered ones, right?
Yeah.
Largely gone between what people feel is blatant racism towards Mexicans, stereotypes about being lazy,
Yeah.
Slowpoke
Oh,
Gonzalez,
Slowpoke. Yeah.
right? I mean, who's in half of the best episodes got Slowpoke
Yeah.
Gonzalez. I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't like to judge stuff by today's standards because it's not fair.
Yeah. Like, you know what? The thing is, they're censoring that kind of stuff, yet they'll broadcast the video games where people are blowing each other's brains out, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So Mama just said something. I listened to hear how they reworded the skipping songs.
Skipping songs.
I've got to ask my wife about this. I used to skip rope, but I never did the songs, and I never did double dutch or anything else with the other kids. I would just skip for exercise, right?
Yeah.
While my knees and ankles could take it. Now, not so much. But, I got to ask her about some of those songs or look them up. Was there a lot of blatantly racist stuff in some of those skipping songs when we were kids?
See, and I'm drawing a blank on what that would have been.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on that one.
I'm so curious about that. Rubbing my jaw because it's killing me. Probably the ones in the back,
Yeah.
they got to come out sooner or later.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only got 3 of them now. So it's like, yeah, but they're going to sooner or later come out. It's funny. It's probably going to be a race who gets theirs out first, my daughter or me.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Blue, where have you been, sir?
Well, it took you long enough there, young man.
I mean, I figure you could spend 20 minutes on everyone else's stream and you still should have been here an hour ago. I don't know if anyone else was streaming at this time. Yeah, but to us, they were norm, and I don't think we really interpreted. Yeah, and that's the thing with so much stuff, right? I mean, even if we were saying the words, we weren't internalizing them.
Once we're thinking that we're like purposely,
Yeah.
That wasn't the intention. It was just, to us, it was just a song.
Yeah.
Something to sing and have fun.
I was having a discussion. My agency workforce is largely East Indian, Sikh, stuff like that. And we were talking about racism and problems in the workforce and politics and all kinds of stuff. And, they say, oh, Canada is so great and this and that and this. And I go, yeah. And I say it too. I love this country. But don't get me wrong. We've done lots of bad things and made a lot of mistakes, and we're learning from some of them. And then I was just telling them, like, some of the stuff we're brought up with, and we don't even realize it, just how bad things are. I mean, we came up with a law in the late 70s that was designed to protect Indigenous Canadians and their rights. I can't remember the exact name of the law, but the idea being is to stop people like you or me from making products saying it's Native Canadian arts and crafts for sale kind of thing. Okay. And part of the wording of the law is such that if you're not, they had put certain limits on what you can call a Native Canadian, an Indigenous Canadian. 2 generations, off the reserve, or if you married once off and then back on, you were okay. There was all kinds of things that basically made it so that within 2 generations, you could be no longer called a Native Canadian if you were a Native Canadian. And it's like, oh my God, this well-meaning law that was supposed to protect them is going to destroy them in 40 years. Because so many of them are either going to move off the reserves, or they're going to marry off the reserve 1 generation or 2 generations, and then they're done.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to claim they're Indigenous anymore, and they lose their rights to that. And all because of a silly business law designed to protect their rights, to stop others, whether it be Caucasian Canadians or people from China or some, just whatever, from selling stuff saying it's Native Canadian, Indian, arts and crafts kind of stuff. It's like, wow, even when we try not to be racist sometimes, it's like it comes out that way. And I got no doubt. And it was very white people who come up with these laws, 20, 40 years ago. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, even when we try, we're screwing it up. Oh, yeah, Chantel at 9 o'clock. You're right, Mr. Blue. She had a stream at 9 o'clock tonight, right? I did see it in the Canadian Brick Builders. But she usually has Joseph, and he's not a big fan of mine. Hey, Vern. I agree from a Native American. You agree that even when we try, we still screw it up? Because I agree, we definitely still screw it up.
Yeah.
But that's a quirky Canadian law on the business side, but it could very well effectively reduce the effective population of Native Indigenous Canadians in this country by a good half easy, and it almost punishes those that leave the reserve. I mean, or that marry out. I mean, there might be a good argument for, well, if they leave and they do this and that and whatever, okay, but we don't have to wipe out a culture. I mean,
yeah.
Because really, when I remember reading about it, the wording was such that they could not call themselves that, and it's like, wow. I mean,
So more or less giving.
If I was 1/4 or 1/8 Cherokee, let's say, I don't want a government telling me I can't call myself 1/8 Cherokee or Micmac or whatever group I may be a part of. Yeah. But yeah, we have this really quirky business law that effectively limits who can be called a Canadian Indigenous peoples to protect Canadian Indigenous people from other people profiting off of their culture. And it's funny because it doesn't actually stop that either. Anyone, you, me, anyone, we can make moccasins and sell them.
Yeah. We
can make dream catchers and sell them. We could do all this stuff. But even though we're Canadian, I can't stamp, such and such Native Canadian arts and crafts or something to that effect on there. Okay. All bricks count dream catchers for sale now. I don't think a lot of people are going to look at the fine print if I make it a good enough quality item.
Yeah.
Or worse, I just have China make it, right? Because, I mean, let's be honest, where's a lot of the stuff made? Like everything else, right? So, yeah. I think people got to be very careful when they make laws. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in the States. They're still arguing about an abortion law down there. And without going into a lot of details, it's literally post-term. It started out as a post-term abortion. And if you understand what that means that you carried right to the end of the term.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? 8 months in, even. Are you kidding me? But that's for another channel. But yeah, I mean, even the most well-meaning law, or someone thinks they're well-meaning, wow, if you're not careful with the wording of that law, you could have serious repercussions all over the place. And I watch and I follow a lot of interesting podcasts on this stuff, and it's like, I scratch my head oh my God, how did you come up with the wording of a law that can be construed this way?
Makes you wonder.
But frankly, the entire American law system, right up to the Founding Fathers and the Founding Fathers documents, it's all about how you interpret it, right?
Yeah.
The right to bear arms. I mean, it's not what people think it means, or at least the large scale interpretation isn't. It was supposed to give you certain rights to protect yourself from the government and the right to militia and stuff. And some of those are actually pretty good ideas. But it shouldn't be, you going around with any kind of submachine gun or a plastic gun in your pocket. No.
Yeah.
And
point.
a gun that can fire 200 rounds in a minute is not a hunting rifle,
Yeah, but hey,
I know this is something that affects you guys like out where you are, right? I mean, you said your childhood experiences. You throw a gun over your shoulder, you go down to the river, and you shoot whatever.
We go hunting and stuff like that. Like, you know what? Though they shouldn't be dictating, like, you can't own a certain firearm because it holds so many rounds. But
yeah,
if you're using it safely for what it's intended for, storing it safely out of reach, like, what's the problem? If you're transporting it locked up, however it should be, you're going to a gun range, shooting at a gun range, taking it home, it's locked up. That's locked up in a safe in a locked room in your home or wherever. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I
definitely believe in the education. And if you're in areas where it's appropriate, I mean, I really don't want to see the guns in the big cities. I really don't. But I think once you're outside the cities and it's part of the culture, especially where you are, where you got those opportunities, or even me, you go an hour north of Toronto and, it's green as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
There's absolutely good opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, education, training, because that's real important. Trigger locks. I don't want to hear any more stories of a 7-year-old playing with their 8-year-old cousin and bang, something went off. Like, what the hell? And you know what I find it funny. We never hear about the parents being prosecuted.
Yeah.
When all over North America, you are supposed to be prosecuted for that, accident or not.
Yeah.
You are responsible. But of course, no judge wants to be that person who is going to take a family that's already lost a kid, and now it's going to take one or both of those parents away.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what it comes down to. So you've got a family, because it's all, that's what it usually is, because it's usually not a single person couple. Like, it's not usually, just a mom or a dad, and it's a couple.
Yeah.
And the guy has the gun to protect the family, whatever. Kids are playing with the gun. They somehow got at it. He didn't lock it up. He didn't, do what was right. And you were young, and you were trained when you were young how to deal with the gun, how to carry it. Well, even if you didn't have a trigger lock, you knew, don't have it loaded, don't aim it up, how to walk with it. We went the education is such a big part.
It was called hunter safety. We went through that course. Then you had to get a firearm. Well, once you got a certain age, then you could take courses to have a firearm license to purchase and buy ammunition and stuff like that. Like, actually, I just had to renew my license here like a couple weeks ago. Do it all online, which is a pain in the butt.
So is that the federal FAC, or is that just a provincial?
Yeah, well, it used to be called, like, about 20 plus years ago, it was called an FAC. Now it's it's basically a firearms acquisition license or whatever. But they don't call it the FAC anymore. But
they don't call it FAC
that's what
anymore.
It used to be called.
Okay,
yeah, that's what it used to be called, though. For all intents and purposes, that's what
I'm old. All the terms in my head are old,
Yeah. Well, I went back. Actually, it's funny. Just the other day, I was going through my wallet, and my hunter safety certificate is still in my wallet from when I got it when I was a kid. It was issued.
Oh, we got a huge lag again. Come on, StreamYards. Oh no, it dropped out. Well, we'll give Ryan another chance to reconnect. So, Mr. Blue, you don't believe. Okay, so being an American. There you go.
Yeah.
So
Fixed
I was
it
just
again.
addressing Mr. Blue there. So he says he doesn't believe in guns. So what is it you don't believe, that Americans should have the right? Or, I mean, what is it you don't believe about guns? I'm kind of curious. I would love to be in a society where no one has guns.
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
That I'll say straight up. People kill
Like,
people.
that's
And I would, I wish it was as easy as, oh, everyone's got to register their gun. But you know what? Most of the criminals aren't registered gun owners.
Yeah.
They don't go through a course. They don't give a crap, and they can get a gun for $500.
well, yeah, that's just it. Like, you're not going to stop criminals. Like, if a criminal wants to get a firearm, he will get a firearm. Like, you're not going
I
to.
can go 6 kilometers away from where I live. And within an hour, I could come home with a $500 gun that will either have no serial number on it or it'll be filed off. And do you think I'm going to care?
Yeah.
Now, to legally buy the ammunition in Toronto, in Ontario, not so easy. At least, okay, down here in the city, not so easy. But once I go an hour north, and there's more gun shops and tackle shops, that gets a lot easier, and with people who ask a lot less questions.
There's ways around everything if you know who to talk to, know where to go, I guess. But
yeah, Mr.
I
Blue,
don't know where those.
That is
places
probably
are
the most
personally,
responsible thing I think I've heard anyone say, and that's an excellent reason to not have one. And I think that's why in the States, don't they do a check on that kind of stuff now? I think
they do a lot of background checks down there.
Yeah.
Well, and
but again, it's only for those that are going to go through the process and do it right.
I know when you're applying for these licenses and stuff, like even when I was doing my renewal, like they're asking a lot of questions. They ask if you're married or have a common law, and they want their information, and they straight up, they're saying that they may contact your common law wife.
Really?
To make sure they know that you have firearms, or like.
What's your wife's name? June. Well, we'll be contacting June to let her know that you, Bob, have now got a gun.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what your home situation is like, and she might be a little bit more concerned than usual about you now.
But it's all through the RC. It's government of Canada, but it's the RCMP that's all going through. So.
Yeah, let's see. Federal. Yep.
Yeah.
Not messing around. And you know what? Those are good things put in place. I know there's going to be a lot of people say, hey, you're violating my rights and privacy and ownership and this and that. Like, you know what? I'm okay with that violation. I am.
The Liberals have made it a lot harder, this and that, and they've made it really a cash grab is what they've done. But like the process and everything for having a firearm license stuff that really never changed. From when he my brother had the old FAC.
Yeah.
But all they did was now required you to pay your I think it's like
hang on one sec.
$75.
Sorry, my cat is doing something on the other side. Like, you know how I got my back plane here. Well, behind that, kitchen's that way. Well, over here, balcony door. Oh yeah, look, it's the door. He's trying to get in or out. See, I told you my cat can open doors, and he's at the screen door, smacking the fan. And there's it's not a Billy case, it's some other bookcase in front of it that we put the fan on. And I guess he's gotten so big and fat he can't work his way. And so he's smacking that door, trying to get in and out. He's outside.
I didn't know how he got through the hole, I guess.
He went through the hole, but he can't come back through the hole because he's
No, he's
stupid.
stuck.
Yeah, my fat cat. He's put a hole in the screen, which isn't a big deal. Really, you know what? We'll make that up. We got the stuff. How about tomorrow? I take that off.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I've told my wife tomorrow. My wife will help me. She's shaking her head. No. No, I got
You're on
this.
your
We got
own.
the screen. If she can find the screen now, she may have to find the screen. Now the smoke is coming out.
What?
You know where the screen is? It's there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the corner. Oh, okay. Darn. Yeah, I guess I have to do it. I bet you don't know where the staple gun is, but the staples. She's not looking at me now.
Yeah.
Another one of those projects I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. With the humidity this summer, once we turn on those ACs, we really haven't opened the door, right?
Yeah.
So don't need to fix the screen. We're not
Yeah.
using it. So that Home Depot kit where you get, the 8 feet of screen, and it's literally for screen doors, and it gives you the roll, and it gives you even the tool with the rubber piece so you can actually rescreen a screen door. Well, I built this frame with my buddy years ago, and the cat since ripped his own hole through to get in and out.
Yeah.
Real smart cat. Well, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to rescreen it, take the old one off, rip the staples out. And honestly, that'll be the worst part of it. I'm going to have to pull out probably 100 staples.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just cut the screen off and say, screw it. But the thing is, then I'll have to watch where I'm putting the new staples in to make sure I don't hit the old ones. Plus, that wood is cheap.
Get out the needle nose pliers and
Mm-hmm.
start pulling.
Oh,
Well,
dude.
What's that?
You just made me think of something. I don't know where the needle nose pliers are. I may have to go to Home Depot anyway now because it's going to be easier to go to Home Depot to buy a new pair for $7 than to find my 3 pairs. You were about to say?
Oh, I was gonna say I better skedaddle here and see what the kids are up to.
Okay, go take
them.
care of the kids. I don't know if I'm
sure.
going to do another stream after this. I'm going to take a break for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of ripping something apart, but I don't know, maybe.
But,
I still got lots of Lego. And then I got to
Yeah,
do the non-Lego. Oh, my God. You think I did a lot of Lego? You should
Yeah, I was
see the
gonna say-
non-Lego.
Well, you hammered a lot over your holidays anyway.
Yeah, it did.
a lot
I mean,
accomplished.
like if I wanted to build some stuff now, I could. But there's still sections of my cabinets that are still like,
Yeah. Get it
Compressed.
cleaned out, and then you have like a fresh canvas, and then you can.
well, that's it. I want to show it off clean and with very little in there and not
Yeah.
scrunched together. I don't want to see Baby Yoda on top of Yoda. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
bad. They look like they're necking or something. It's
Yeah.
something naughty going on.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Oh, hey, thanks for
It
hanging.
was good.
Good talks. Good fun.
We'll see everyone. Bye, Mama Lego, Mr. Blue. Who else has been here?
I'm going to put this back up.
Vern Thomas. And my little plug, if anyone's on there that hasn't subscribed to my channel, you're more
Yeah.
than welcome to.
Yeah, I got the link in the description. I
Check out
remember
my
to put that
latest
on.
video, my B-Wing, UCS B-Wing review.
Awesome.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, let
All
me
right.
know also if you're doing any streams or anything this weekend.
For sure.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Take it easy, everyone. Bye-bye. And Shazam.